Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and another live stream. Today we need to talk about Manchester United versus Copenhagen, previewed on the channel yesterday morning. Today we need to go into this in a little bit more depth because let's be honest, this is must win for Manchester United. It's very early in the season to be saying that, but if United don't win this game, I think the Champions League dream is over. So, how is everyone doing? Get in chat. Let me know how you guys have been. It's been about 10 days since we last streamed, so I'm interested to hear how you guys have been and also what you've been making of Manchester United over the past 10 days or so. What's happened in the past 10 days? We've seen more takeover news in terms of Qatar not buying the club, Ratcliffe probably getting 25% of the club. We've had the win against Sheffield United, which was a questionable win. We've got certain players returning from injury, which we can also discuss today. There's plenty to talk about. So how are you guys doing? Hello, FP. Good to see you, mate. Zach saying, afternoon. Did you see the hilarious Sergio and Sancho mix-up in the presser? Had me giggling, yeah. Was that the one where he said Sergio's back in training, but everyone thought he said Sancho? Kind of probably sums up, but yeah, nice little bit of humour for us Manchester United fans. Did anyone actually think it said Sancho? Did anyone really think that? Just to check, am I coming through all right for you guys? Are you guys hearing me okay? And also, just how are you guys in general? Just before we get into the stream, make sure that you guys are hearing me properly. So, is this coming through okay? Because my Zach saying loud and clear, lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Zach. I do appreciate your help. Anyway, you can watch this game, the under-19 game. I think it's on TNT Sport if you want to try to find it. I can't do it on the stream or anything, but I'll keep you updated on scoreline and things like that because I have got my eye on it. But for today, we need to talk about this game against Copenhagen. And the main thing we need to address is what is your starting 11. That's the first thing I want to figure out. We're going to look at some potential strengths of Copenhagen, which we need to talk about. Like I said, I covered a lot of it in... what was I saying now? We covered a lot of it in my preview yesterday, but there's also a bit more I want to talk about today, more from a defensive point of view. Certain players which I think might hurt Manchester United in a certain way from Copenhagen, and how Ten Hag can potentially counter that. And before we do that, we do need to figure out our starting 11. So, basically, what are our thoughts? What are our kind of immediate thoughts? Who are the guaranteed starters for today? Who should be dropped? This 11 is the one which started the other day against Sheffield United. And let's be honest, the performance wasn't great, so we probably need some changes. Yeah, TNT Sport for the under-19 game, if you want to go watch that. I'll definitely be watching it back. Kobbie Mainoo is starting in that game, and we will be talking about him a little bit later on in stream. So Zach saying drop McTominay for Mason Mount for sure. I mean, I completely agree. I'll be honest with you. I think that's quite an obvious one. I think pushing Bruno Fernandes further forward. I thought he was really poor in his deep position the other day. Pushing Bruno Fernandes back further forward, taking McTominay out, putting Mason Mount in has got to be a step in the right direction. Flan asking for my thoughts on Shea Lacey. Brilliant talent. I done a video on him the other day if you want to check it out. Such a good talent. On the bench today for the under-19s, which I think might be a little bit harsh, but it's a talented squad. Yeah, he's unbelievably good. Really good. Zach saying, not sure you would change much more unless Reguilon is fit. Would we have any changes to like Maguire and Varane? Are we happy with that? Reguilon in at left back would be ideal. I know he is with the squad today. He has trained recently. I believe he trained all of last week. We hoped he would be fit for Sheffield United, but of course that weren't the case. Hopefully he's fit for this game, because it would be nice for the first time in, 6 weeks or so, if not more now, to actually see a proper left-back in the side. No disrespect to those that have played there, but they aren't traditional left-backs. Excuse me 1 second, I just need to quickly check something. Yeah, we haven't seen a traditional left-back in this side for some time. FP saying we need control, and I couldn't agree anymore. That's why I would like to see the return of Mason Mount in this side. Do I think he's perfect in this role? Not really, but I don't think United have anyone which is perfect in this role. But I do just think him alongside Amrabat gives you more potential for control. If United are going with this lineup, would you guys swap the fullbacks round? Because I would personally. Because what we saw again against Sheffield, if I go to the board, was Lindelof constantly inverting into these positions and Dalot forming a back three. Maybe you guys can perhaps give you a bit more reasoning behind that. I can't understand. I still can't get my head around it. It's 3 or 4 days later. I still can't really figure out what the plan was there and what United were doing. But I think what we need to see is, I think we've spoken a lot on the channel about improving United from a defensive point of view. We've spoken about, different pressing structures. We've spoken about how high the line should play, left-footed centre-backs, right-footed centre-backs, left-footed full-backs, right-footed full-backs. Over the past 12 months or so, we've covered it a lot. Pressing structures, mid-blocks. I think it's also about time, though, that we start seeing better attacking football. And I think to see that, we need to get better players around Marcus Rashford. Now, again, I've said it a few times, what we've seen recently is that when Marcus Rashford gets the ball on the wide left, Rashford's very capable of going 1-versus-1. He's a brilliant dribbler. He's very capable of doing that. But you can do more to help him. Recently, it's been Lindelof supporting him in these positions, Amrabat the other week. United need to really optimise that and, in my opinion, get better attacking players around him. I think playing Dalot on that side and Mason Mount also, I think that gives something United... I think that gives United something different. Let's say if you were to go for perhaps a shape more like this with Dalot inverting from left back, to me this makes more sense. Now, I don't know if perhaps Ten Hag's concern is having Maguire as a wider defender, but I think if you trust Johnny Evans in that position over the past couple of games, I think you can trust Harry Maguire there as well. I also think he likes Maguire central for the pass out to Marcus Rashford, which, to be fair, I do understand that has been United's biggest weapon recently. But I still think you can get enough of him from left centre-back. But I think getting Mason Mount near Marcus Rashford, getting Diogo Dalot near Marcus Rashford, I think that has to be a move which United make to improve their attack. Bruno Fernandes can then help Antony down this side, and we know there'll be rotations, of course. Sometimes, hang on, I've lost my mouse here. Sometimes Amrabat will step forward. Is the stream lagging out here? Give 1 second. Are we good? Just lagging out slightly. Anyway, sorry, what I was saying is get Bruno Fernandes in this right half space, get Antony wide right. Let's see rotations down this side much more than what we've seen recently. We need to see more rotations in the final third. I think in deep areas, we've perhaps seen too many rotations. I think in the final third, we're not seeing enough rotations and not enough movement. We need to find a way to generate more chances for Rasmus Højlund up front, because we've seen that he can be very good. But I think in the Premier League so far, he has 1.3 expected goals. And that's not on him. His movement has often been very good. We've got to create chances for him. Having 1.3 XG in the amount of games that he's played already for United just isn't okay. FP, can you confirm that? I feel like you're the sort of person which will have that sort of stat. Is it 1.3 XG? And also, do you have the number on how many Premier League games he's played so far? Whatever it is, though, it's definitely a low number for the amount of games that he's played. And it would be a concern. United have to get better at going forward. The defence we know has... we know that the defence has problems, but also the attack does as well. And I think United need to try and knit it all together at once somehow, which might be a problem for Ten Hag. But the attacking football has to improve as well, especially at home as well. If you just give me 1 second, I think some of you guys might have a buffering stream right now. Yeah, his 2 or 3 disallowed goals also don't count towards XG, you are correct. So FP said 1.4 XG in 6 Premier League games. That's not enough. Someone has to create more chances for him. We've seen in the Champions League that if you do create chances, he can score goals. He can put the ball in the back of the net. So thank you very much for that stat. There's got to be more chance creation. And the way of doing that is to not have Lindelof receiving the ball high left in the half space. I said it about the Sheffield United game the other day. There was a spell during the game where Johnny Evans had the ball in like a left centre-back position. And for a good 20-30 seconds, Maguire was stood in like a high right striker position. Now, you maybe expect that if you're 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go and kind of chasing a win. But the rotation doesn't make sense. I think United, in deeper areas, need to almost simplify and then further forward, there be a bit more creative. Lindelof plays in the left-back role. Yeah, he normally does. We've had the discussion, would you swap them? Currently, it's Dalot at right-back, Lindelof at left-back, then tucking into this position and pushing forward. Would you rotate that is the discussion we've been having. So FP says Haaland has 8 expected goals in 9 Premier League games, sorry. So Haaland's only played 3 Premier League games more, and his XG is, 6.6 higher. That's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you very much again for the stat, FP. I appreciate that. But it backs up the point that United just aren't creating enough opportunities, anywhere near enough opportunities, and there's got to be a better way of doing it. I think Mason Mount is a second phase player. who can do some stuff in the first phase. I think Mason Mount returning to this team will be key. I also think he might be quite useful from a defensive point of view. Because if we go over to this one, we didn't actually cover this the other day. But let's go to the average positions. So this is Copenhagen in their 2 Champions League games so far. Now, this is their first game against Galatasaray. This is their game against Bayern. Now, on this one, they're attacking that way. On this one, they're attacking that way. So just try and get your head around that a little bit. But what I want to look at is the number 9 and the number 12 in both of these instances. So what we can see on this side, number 12 and number 9 are both midfielders playing either side of 33. In this game, the number 9 pushes higher, the number 12 drops deeper. So, fairly standard, a midfielder pushes forward to join the attack. But when we go over to this one, we can now see the number 12 is much higher, and the number 9 is now a deeper midfielder. So that is something which Ten Hag will need to take into consideration going into this game. And I think if we go to the lineup for Copenhagen, keep an eye on Gonçalves. I think he could be a problem. And the reason he could be a problem, he's not the best footballer in the world. You know, he's not going to set the world on light. He's not a terrifying talent to face. But what he is a good ball carrier. And we know this is something which United have struggled with. So could Mason Mount be a good little matchup for that? Now, as you will also see, if we go back to that real quick, the average positions, you'll see that the number 9 in one game played right centre mids, the other game left centre mid. So it's a little bit difficult to figure out what side he's going to play on. But I think Mason Mount might be important to try and stop him. Would Scott McTominay do a great job of it? Potentially, but we saw that in possession the other night, he just doesn't offer enough. Christian Eriksen physically might have an issue there facing a ball carrier. I would almost be tempted to move Mason Mount to the right-hand side for this game to match up against Gonçalves, or basically play him whatever side Gonçalves plays. Now, you might think we're playing against Copenhagen, we should focus on our own game, we don't need to concentrate on this. But it's a bad idea to underestimate them. They're a good side. They only lost 2-1 to Bayern. We all saw how good Bayern were against us going forward. So to only lose 2-1 and actually go 1-0 up against them, they're clearly a good side. Gonçalves in particular, though, has had a good 2 games. I've watched the matches back. And you can see it in the stats here. Now, the stat I'm interested in is this stat right at the bottom here, either side of me. Dribbles attempted this game, 3 out of 3. In this one, 1 out of 1. So we can see that he is a good ball carrier. And as I've said already, United are not great at dealing with ball carriers. 1 second, if I can go back to it. When Casemiro's been playing so far this season, if I can find him, I haven't got him written down here. 1 second. If you go back to Spurs earlier in the season, James Maddison, if you go back to Arsenal with someone like Declan Rice, when United have faced ball carriers, United have really struggled because Casemiro's 1-versus-1 ability, he's been turned too easily, twisted about too easily, really struggled. I think Mason Mount's energy and his agility when defending, his work rate, his tenaciousness, his intensity, I think could be really important to helping United in possession, yes, but also from a defensive point of view. I think it will be key. What's the main playing style of Copenhagen? They'll be quite direct, they'll be quite narrow, they're not too focused. You know, I don't think they're going to come to Old Trafford and have 60% possession. They will be, you know, if you saw my preview yesterday, they'll be narrow initially in this 4-3-3 shape like this, although it's borderline 4-3-2-1. They're not going to press super high, but there will be pressure on the ball. Then they're going to drop off into more of a 4-5-1 mid-block. When they need to really defend, they can drop all the way into a back 5 with one of the wingers dropping even deeper. They will, if United play in the right way, United should control possession in this game. It will be about stopping the counter-attack. The question is, can United control possession in this game? The key to that is Sofyan Amrabat. Sofyan Amrabat has to get on the ball in this game. We saw in the first half against Sheffield United where, because everyone around Amrabat was so chaotic on the ball, Amrabat never really got going. He never was able to get on the ball, slow things down and play his game. In the second half, because those around him were a bit calmer, Amrabat was actually able to get the ball in the first place, from where he then has a calming influence on the side. So it's important that United start calming possession, push Bruno Fernandes higher out of the way. I don't want to see Bruno getting involved in deep build-up because he gives the ball away too much. I want to see him deeper. I want to see Amrabat and Mason Mount deeper, getting on the ball and trying to play with a bit of calm to their game, take control. It's the other worry I do have with Lindelof and Dalot this way around. Let's see what you guys have been saying though. Okay, I agree with your idea, Lindelof at right back. Yeah, obviously, like you've said already, Lindelof plays left back at the moment, but I would probably swap them. I think the main issue is we aren't controlling the game more when we are facing weaker opposition. Yeah, that Sheffield game really captured that. I believe the stat was Sheffield United averaged 38% possession this season. Half an hour into the game against United, they had 58% possession. So that's really concerning. United have to get more control in this game. Wayne is saying the issue is that the attack is toothless. They don't have the patterns in place. They are more solid last year, to be honest, but has better players now. Yeah, we need to, at some point, we'll probably do a separate video on it, or maybe a whole stream on it, really focusing on improving this attack. I think one thing which United use in the attack, right, is actually quite a good weapon. It's you overload one side, drag the defence over, like this, and then basically the idea is always overload one side, drag them over, and then you switch the ball to the other side where the player should be in space. And that's not a bad strategy at all, because it then gets you Anthony 1 versus 1 against a fullback, or it can happen the other way around. Teams can come over this side like this, and then you switch the ball out to Marcus Rashford. Again, it's not a bad strategy because it gets them 1 versus 1. But I think it's a good strategy if you've got a possession structure and then you kind of occasionally sprinkle this in. I think this being your main pattern is a problem. So United, if you watch United, a lot of the attacks are, we'll build at one side and we're going to switch it the other side to get 1 versus 1. 9 times out of 10 it will be Marcus Rashford. There's so few attacks being built kind of through the centre of the pitch, sustaining possession, pulling the opposition about, pulling them to different areas. United need to get better at moving the ball in the middle of the pitch. Now, to move the ball forward in the middle of the pitch takes something a little bit different to what it does out wide, because these areas are much tighter, it's much more compact. There's more opposition players, but also more of your players. So in these areas, it comes down a bit more to patterns of play, kind of drilled in by the manager and the coaching staff, but also team cohesion and chemistry between players. And that's perhaps where Ten Hag, deserves a little bit of leeway, because it is difficult to build chemistry between players when they haven't been available. When there's been so many injuries, when you're constantly chopping and changing your centre-backs and also your midfielders, it is hard to build the ball through the middle and build that cohesive unit. These guys, this 5 here, Maguire, Varane, Amrabat, Mount, Fernandes, if they are the ones to start, these are the ones which will be responsible for moving the ball forward through midfield. Amrabat, Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes haven't started a game in midfield yet, not all with each other. So that highlights where, it is difficult to get that cohesion. Combined with the fact that the profiles are a little bit off. Rafael Varane isn't the best passer of a football. Bruno Fernandes loses possession a lot. I think this is more where United need to work on. I don't mind having that switch and the width and the 1 versus 1 situation. I think it's a brilliant way to break teams down, and it's something which I would actually always recommend. But as someone who said it earlier, FP said, Atlantis mentioned on his channel, and I haven't watched the video, but he mentioned at times United are too wide in attack. Depending on what side of it he's talking about, I do agree, because United have to get much better at moving the ball forward through the middle. Attacking with width is brilliant. You have to do it to stretch the pitch, but it shouldn't be your only weapon. Manchester City use a lot of width for the pitch, but also we see a lot of them in the middle. We see Rodri on the ball a lot. We see, someone like Bernardo Silva when he plays central midfield. We see him on the ball a lot. Julian Alvarez is getting a good amount of touches in central areas. Recently, we've seen games where Bruno Fernandes barely seems involved. Christian Eriksen's kind of drifted out of games. McTominay the other day, never really involved in a game. I think United really have to get better at moving the ball forward through the centre. I think McTominay will start since he scored 2 goals in the last 2 games. He also deserved it being fair to him. I think he earned his start the other day with his 2 goals late on. When you come in and literally give your team the win, I think you deserve a start. But I think he kind of had his chance the other day. I think now it's time to kind of bring him out again. Eriksen helped out Amrabat so much in the last game. Do you see him starting in this match to bring control, I guess you mean? I could see him starting in this game for that very reason. In place of Mason Mount, he is someone who will keep the ball. He'll use his long passing from deep positions. And like I said, he is better at controlling tempo than what most of the United midfielders are. My problem or my concern would be from a defensive point of view. Because, like I've said, there are a couple of decent ball carriers in this Copenhagen midfield. Is Eriksen really the man to combat that and stop that taking its true effect? I'm not convinced he is. But who knows? This is why it's quite difficult as a manager, and it's also why United have built quite a poor squad actually. But it's difficult to kind of weigh up. Every player has pros and cons. It's what pros and what cons do you want in which game? In this game, do you want the control of Eriksen, but you sacrifice maybe something defensively, or do you want the energy of Mason Mount, but perhaps it's not quite as controlled? It's a difficult balance to get. But let me know what you guys are thinking in chat. What would be your midfield three for this game if you were Erik Ten Hag? So not what do you think Ten Hag will do. If it was literally you're the manager right now, what would you do? You know, let's get ourselves next to Ten Hag. You're sitting face to face with Erik. What would you tell him to go for in midfield? Eriksen is good when the opposition midfield gets a bit tired. That's a really good point. I think he is better when teams start to fatigue a little bit and it's not quite as intense. Space starts to open up a little bit. He's not kind of constantly in combative 1-versus-1 duels. I think that's a really good point. Teams that United sit with the ball since they show no intent. Yeah, again, that's that problem with progressing the ball through the middle of the pitch. This should be an easy game according to United standards, but the main problem is our team itself. Yeah, I think throughout history, you look at Manchester United versus Copenhagen, is the stat that Copenhagen have never scored a goal in England against an English side, I think. So, what is it, 7th minute they scored tonight? But yeah, I completely agree with what you're all saying. The problem we have is it's one thing to sit here and point out the problems. I think we can all do that. It's coming up with solutions. So it's about saying we're not very good at moving the ball forward through the middle. We've highlighted that. But how do you actually improve it? Now, a lot of it, we can't really talk about because a lot of it is about patterns, which you'll see in training and, development in that way. But what can we come up with? Tails said, my beautiful bald manager will work it out. I really hope so. I really, really hope he will. I think he will. I still think he's the right man for the job. We had this discussion on last stream. There was a lot of debate, we'll call it, in chat. I still think he's the man for the job. But he needs to start turning it around. Because I think recently, tactically, he has got it wrong in a couple of games. That Sheffield game, whilst there were injuries and players missing, I think he could have done a lot better with what he had still. Again, get in chat, let me know what you think. They'll score a goal 5 minutes after we score. In the Sheffield game the other day, I was watching it with my brother and we scored and we're literally counting down 5 minutes to see if we can hit that 5 minute mark without conceding. That's the point it's got to. Chad, good to see you, mate. Saying AJ isn't using a green screen. This is conclusive proof that AJ transcends the physical realm and is present in all forms of existence. Chad, mate, you're not meant to tell everyone. Shh, keep it quiet, don't. That's our secret, man. I think we should go with more control. Isolating wingers would be good, but Rashford is in terrible form and he will be heavily targeted. The other problem, I guess, is in terms of if we're using that tactic of building down one side and then switching the ball. Is to Rashford it works quite well because he is a good dribbler, he isolates well and he's a threat. The problem is when you then do it the other way, Anthony's a good retention player, he does keep the ball well, but when it comes into, okay, now you're 1-versus-1 against your fullback, you've isolated him, can you beat him? 9 times out of 10 the answer is no. And that is another problem which the attack currently has. Now to kind of address this, tomorrow I am doing another stream, so if you guys are interested, subscribe, notifications on to make sure you don't miss it. But tomorrow we will be streaming again, talking about potential right-wing solutions for United, players which could be brought in, because we don't know about the future of Antony, of course, off the pitch things, and also Jadon Sancho. It looks like his time in the club is done. It looks like he will be gone. So Kubo, Nico Williams, Bakayoko, Neto, they could be potential solutions. So tomorrow we will be doing our first ever live scouting for United episode. So if you're interested, again, get notifications on so you do get told when I go live. I'm going to bring you the positives of all these players, the negatives. We'll talk about stats, heat maps, FBref reports, data MB reports. We'll have a look at everything and you'll see me doing a Scouting for United video live. If you do miss the stream, don't worry. I will then cut the video up and edit it and upload it as a proper video on the channel. So yeah, this should be a good thing to do tomorrow and hopefully bring you guys some kind of ideas of what my thought process is around the whole situation. But going back to this game, let's literally build the 11. Who are we going for at centre-back? Let me make sure I've got the right screen because I have got that wrong before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take every single United player off the pitch here. And we're just going to go through this. and try and build the 11. Now, I believe Facundo Pellistri, for example, isn't with the squad on this occasion. I believe he's out injured. We're going to go for Onana in goal because I haven't got Bienda written down, and realistically, he will be the keeper. You didn't know that Neto was 23 years old? Yeah, he's obviously been hurt by injuries massively. There's been this weird cloud over the squad since forever now, going back to the Moyes, Van Gaal days. I think there's a mental block that's holding players back. That's been... Yeah, I completely agree. It's not just the players, it's the whole club, isn't it? It's everything. There's been this thing around the whole football club for 10 years now, which is a real problem. Need a period of us playing joyous, confident, competent football without bags of negative attention and doom. Spot on, I completely agree. This is the chance to do it now for United. If you want to, if you're Manchester United, if you're Erik ten Hag, if you're the coaches, you're this set of players, and you want to get the fans back on side, you've got a must-win game in the Champions League at home under the lights at Old Trafford tonight, and then the weekend, you've got Manchester City at Old Trafford. If you want to make a statement and you want to get the fans back on side, this is the time to do it. It's going to be difficult. We'll preview the City game when we get there. Let's conquer this one first. But this is the time to do it. Anyway, for this game, let's build a centre-back partnership. So get in chat. I'm aware we've got way less people than normal today, but that doesn't matter at all. Like I said, we've got plenty of streams coming this week. So, you know, I think a lot of people aren't watching United content at the moment because United are so bad. So I appreciate you guys that are still here. So, I'm seeing Zach is saying Maguire. I've got Dark is saying Varane and Maguire. DJ Nature, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream, my friend. We're trying to figure out a starting 11 for the Copenhagen game. Thorat saying Varane and Maguire. Sport Gang saying Ten Hag wants to play from the back, and all we have for now is Lindelof and Varane. If we have Kim Min-jae or someone like him, situation for Ten Hag would be much better this season. I think Maguire's good at playing the ball from the back as well. Not under pressure though, but yeah, I do get your point. United, I think, did need a centre-back in the summer, and I think we're seeing the consequence of that. Obviously, we couldn't predict Lisandro Martinez's injury would be so bad, but I think we all predicted that Lindelof wasn't quite first-team quality, Maguire isn't first-team quality, and Raphael Varane would be injured. A lot of people don't watch United content because of the last takeover news. Yeah, I think the whole club's a bit doom and gloom at the moment. Anyway, get in chat, everyone, and just give me 2 words. I want 2 centre-backs to start this game. We're going to go for a 4-3-3 / a 4-2-3-1 formation. Together, we're going to build a team, starting 11, which we think will beat Copenhagen. Because, again, this is a must-win. What do you think about Johan Bakayoko if Sancho leaves? Yeah, he's the one for me. He is my preference. He is my... he's the one right now. If I was to sign a right winger for United, Bakayoko is the one that I'd go for. I really like him. So yeah, like I said, if you want more of my thoughts on that tomorrow, Alex, I will be streaming tomorrow. All 4 of these, by the way, are brilliant options in different ways. So I'm going to bring you the pros and cons of all of them. So DJ Nature, thank you very much for your suggestion, saying Maguire and Evans / Varane if Varane is fit. It would be much better if there was a centre-back who simply has pace. Yeah, athletic profiles at centre-back are so underappreciated. You've used Van de Ven as an example there, and I completely agree. Saliba is a similar player. The prime Virgil van Dijk, they just eat up ground. United don't have that. Raphael Varane used to be kind of close to that, but physically has declined. United lack that proper athlete. So are we pretty unanimous on Maguire and Raphael Varane? Zach saying I'd probably opt for Maguire and go for Evans for resting Varane. Okay, let's take this to a poll. Actually, no, just one word, everyone. Varane, Evans. We're going to start Harry Maguire at left centre-back. Do you protect Varane and start Johnny Evans, or do you start Raphael Varane? Let me know in chat. Just literally give one word of which of the ones you'd start. Then we'll go to the fullbacks, the midfield, the front line. And then also, I want to talk about Kobbie Mainoo a bit as well. So let's try and get through this nice and quick. Okay, okay, DJ Nature saying Evans. I'm seeing Thorat and Dark saying Raphael Varane. Varane, if he is 100% ready. Varane, 100%. We need these points. Thank you guys for getting involved. I do appreciate that. Again, this is a bit of a quieter stream than normal, but we don't mind that. You know, it's a nice chilled out one. Okay, so Varane's won the vote. Now we go to fullback. Thank you, Sibs, for your input as well. So the fullback options, should we assume Reguilón is fit? He's trained all of last week. He's with the squad today. And he's also tweeted out a picture of him, like a match day post as such, suggesting that he is fit and available to play. So we've got, for our left back and right back position, we've got Reguilón, we've got Victor Lindelof, and we've got Diogo Dalot. So we've got to pick 2 of these. So is it just easier to go Reguilón and Dalot? Is that the solution? Does that kind of simplify things? It means you've got a right back at right back and a left back at left back, again, for the first time in months. So is that what United should be doing? If you're Erik ten Hag, would that be your decision? DJ Nature agreeing, saying he'd go Dalot and Sergio. Just to confirm, by the way, guys, I'm saying Sergio rather than Sancho. Yes, all players travelling we should consider as fit. Yep, reasonable. Muhammad Ali saying Evans on at left back and Dalot on at right back for him. That's an interesting shout. I think Johnny Evans' form, to be fair, has been really good recently. I don't think he's ideal, but I think he's a really good player still, and he's been performing. Reguilón left back, Dalot right back. Sport Gang asking, do you think we can play a 3-box-3 shape with Maguire, Dalot, and Varane in defence? Amrabat, Eriksen, Mount, Bruno in midfield. And then Rashford, Antony, and Højlund. I think that could definitely work in possession. The question would be about then when you switch to like a defensive side of things. Because you're obviously missing a fullback in that system, but also you're missing a proper ball-winning midfielder. So I think everyone is agreed. Reguilón and Dalot. So sorry, Victor Lindelof, mate. Your time's up. Time for midfield. Casemiro suspended after that weird incident against Galatasaray. So we need a midfield 3. We've got Christian Eriksen. We've got Scott McTominay. We've got Bruno Fernandes. We've got Mason Mount. And we've got Sofian Amrabat. We need to pick 3 of them. Or we could play this formation and be very defensive. Maybe that would finally give us control, to be fair. So we need to pick 3 of these midfielders. Malacia really disappeared. The reports are that he's back in individual training. So I think he will be back soon. Hannibal is another player I should include. You are absolutely correct. Give me 1 second. Yep, definitely need Hannibal in the discussion as well. He should be in there. You are spot on. Should we just play this formation and pack the middle of the pitch and just hope that someone keeps the ball? So I'm seeing Amrabat, Mount, and Bruno, says Thorat. I'm seeing Amrabat, McTominay, and Mason. I'm seeing Amrabat as the 6 with Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes as the 3-8s. Okay, we need to address it. Does Bruno Fernandes need to be dropped? Now, it seems crazy to say, right, because this is such a big game. It's a must-win game. To drop your captain, your best creative player, seems counterproductive. But his form recently has been shoddy. Now, to be fair, I feel sorry for him. He has been kind of shifted about. He has been asked to play in, right wing at times. He's played as the 10 at times. He's played left centre mid at times. Probably left wing at one point. He's filled in at fullback for like 10 minutes in one of the games where United were struggling. Is it time to drop him? Or do you think it's wrong? DJ Nature saying he loves Bruno, but maybe just take a break. Yeah, fair enough. Lightning Gamer saying, who's a better right winger at the moment, Bruno or Antony? Well, chat, I'll put that question to you guys. What do you guys think? Frank saying Amrabat, Mason, and Scotty at the 10, and then Bruno right wing. Yes, he should be rested, but Ten Hag will start him. No, yes. Amrabat, Mount, Eriksen would be amazing. I think Bruno and Casemiro has a serious stamina issue because we really milked them last season. Yeah, obviously United played a lot of minutes last year and a lot of players played a lot of minutes, combined with the fact that in the case of Casemiro and Fernandes in particular, they also give the ball away a lot, which then means they have more running to do, so they almost harm themselves by the way that they play. Zach saying 4-5-1 narrow, my favourite formation. Yeah, I reckon we won't concede if we play this formation, right? Not through the centre anyway. No, I would find a way to concede still. So, I think Amrabat, I'm just trying to kind of go through chat here and figure out what are... So I'm seeing... I think Mason Mount is in everyone's midfield. Does that mean I'm going to ask a crazy question in a second? Hang on. So Mount's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm seeing 8 or 9 people there saying that Mason Mount should start in midfield. Okay, so we're going to put Mason Mount in midfield. So the question now is, I can't believe I'm asking this, Bruno Fernandes or Hannibal, Scott McTominay or Christian Eriksen. Who would you go? When you ask the question like that, it feels like it's got to be Bruno, right? Is a diamond out of the question due to the fullback situation? To be fair, the diamond is definitely a solution we could see. It depends who the fullbacks are going to be. If it's Lindelof, then yeah, it doesn't really work because obviously he doesn't overlap properly. But Dalot and Reguilon, we could see it. Yeah, I think it has to be Bruno at this point, right? But yeah, we could see a diamond. We could see it. My concern with a diamond is... Apologies. My concern is that... Let's just quickly put a random team in. Let's go... Let's just say this is United's team, right? I'm not saying this is, but we'll come back to the selection in a second. Let's say United play like this. In a diamond, the obvious problem is that the opposition can play the ball wide. Now, when this happens, your fullback starts to get drawn out a little bit because they're 2 versus 1 here. The problem now is you've got Raphael Varane dragged into these areas, which I don't think he's very good at. And you've got the same problem down the other side, where if Maguire is constantly dragged out here, I just don't think it's ideal. So I think if United want to use a diamond, the defensive approach from the front has to be different. It almost has to maybe attack in a diamond, but defensively, perhaps more of a 4-3-3, more of a 4-4-2, a 4-2-3-1. I don't think defending in a diamond works for United. Not if you're pressing anyway. Not if you're pressing. So Frank reckons that the news, according to Mark Goldbridge, is that Mason starts ahead of Anthony. That obviously changes things completely. Codename, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Not seen you, hadn't streamed for about 10 days, so it's good to see you. Hope you're well, my friend. What have you been making of the United news recently? What have you been up to in life? How are you? DJ Nature saying United better off with a double pivot. Okay, who would you kind of have as your double pivot then? Just to go back to the diamond point. United could change defensive approach in a diamond. You could perhaps... Okay, so let's say we're playing a 4-4-2 diamond like this in possession, right? But when we're going to defend, what we're going to do is we're going to collapse into more of a 4-4-2. So Christian Eriksen and Amrabat will become a double pivot. Mason Mount will drop left centre mid. Bruno Fernandes will drop right centre mid. Now we've addressed that problem we had earlier. Because now the fullback isn't going to get dragged out. So now Maguire and Raphael Varane are much safer. So that's definitely a solution. The concern there would be Eriksen in a double pivot. That would be a concern. But providing the work rate of those around him is good enough, United could get around that potentially. Or this could be Scott McTominay. We don't know at the moment. Double pivot of Kobbie Mainoo and Sofian Amrabat. Well, I'll tell you, my friends. Kobbie Mainoo will not be starting this game. And I'll tell you why in just 1 second. When the page loads. This is awkward. Put some elevator music over the top of this. I'll get there in a second. Hang on. Kobbie Mainoo will not be starting for the first team tonight because for the first time in about 3 months, he's starting this afternoon. He is back. He has returned from injury and he will be featuring for the under-19s. For those of you that are interested, Shea Lacey is on the bench. But again, I'd like to see him get involved. So yeah, he will not be starting this game. He will be in the under-19 side. But it's great to see him back from injury in the first place. So that's exciting. Codename, trying my hands on video making recently. Not the best, but keep trying. Is that on your Codename account? If so, I'll check it out, mate. What sort of content are you doing? Or is it not public yet? Is a diamond against opposition who are going to park the bus a good idea, considering you typically need width to break down a low block? Brilliant question. And of course, this is again when we're talking about every system has its strengths and its weaknesses, and you are absolutely spot on. The diamond does give you certain limitations when you're trying to attack because it's difficult to stretch the pitch. Again, every system though can be modified because what you can suddenly do in this shape, right, is let's put United back in the 4-4-2 diamond, particularly with Eriksen. This could work. So we're going to put United in a diamond like this. Okay, so we're in a 4-4-2 diamond. Now this means that when we get the ball, it looks incredibly narrow. It's difficult to stretch your position. But not if you make some alterations. Sofian Amrabat comes into this sort of anchor position, an anchor position between the two centre-backs, looking to get on the ball. He loves this role. Causes the centre-backs to split a little wider. The centre-back splitting wider, covering these wider positions, means that our full-backs can push on. Now, this means that because the full-backs are higher, we need a more reserved midfielder, so Christian Eriksen drops in. And suddenly, you've gone from playing a 4-4-2 diamond to almost more of a 3-3-4, and suddenly you have got width, you've got Reguilon, you've got Dalot pushing forward, you've got Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount in half spaces. So, this is the big thing with formations, is that no formation is fixed. Every formation can provide width if you make adjustments. So, yeah, it's definitely, your question is spot on, you're completely right. It all depends on how you use the diamond. If you use the diamond in a really narrow manner, then yeah, it probably is a problem. If you want to be a bit more expansive and open things up a little bit, then maybe it's actually the solution. So, codename saying, not on this channel, mate, on another channel. Send me a link on Twitter or something, I'll check it out. If you don't want to make it public to everyone, send me a link on Twitter or Instagram or something like that, and I'll check it out at some point. I understand if you don't want to make it public yet. AJ, what do you think of the last Ratcliffe news? The guy is a failure at sport investing, but he will get Paul Mitchell, according to the latest news. Well, what's the company called? Is it Ineos? Ineos? Have I made that up? Or am I saying it wrong? Regardless, that's the company. They have a record. Their record is good. Nice in France are doing well. What sport was it I saw? Now, you've got to bear with me on this one because I'm not an expert on all sports. There's a sport. Is it cycling? I think it's cycling. I think Ineos in cycling, they like revolutionized cycling in Great Britain. I'm sure that's what I read. Also like McLaren F1, for example. Not that they're not actually the best at F1 at the moment, but they are. Oh, it's Mercedes, is it? Sorry. And yeah, it is cycling. Team Sky. This is what I mean. So, of course, it's very different to transfer that over to football. But having success in other sports is a good sign. Perhaps investment and things like that, we could question it a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if Nice do spend a lot of money. I want to look into it at some point. But, you know, the way I look at it, Nice are doing very well in the French league. They have success in other sports. It can't be worse than the Glazers being in charge of football side of things. So, yeah. If you want, we can do a full stream on the takeover situation this week. Sailing as well, marathon runners. Joel seems to know everything. Perfect. Yeah, Joel, if you could just give whatever you know about the takeover, or Jim Ratcliffe, I should say. Our players are going to play in cycling shorts with better aerodynamics. Pit stops during the game to hydrate is not a bad idea. But you know what I mean. If you've got success in other sports, of course it's different sport to sport. But it might mean they come up with something in football. We'll just have to wait and see. But if you want a specific stream on the takeover and on Jim Ratcliffe and on Paul Mitchell, that's something to be excited about. I can absolutely do that if you guys would like it. I've got some free time this week. So if you do want it, let me know. I'll get it all prepared and stream it on Thursday, for example. So Zach coming through some stats as well. I think we need a stream on this. I'm going to read through all your comments and I'm going to make sure I screenshot all of this just to keep updated. But yeah, that's definitely something we can talk about later this week. Back to this game. DJ Nature saying a 4-2-3-1 with Amrabat and Majbury pivot might give it a shot. Has Hannibal, I'm trying to think, what positions has Hannibal played in so far in the first team this season? Played as a 10. Has he played as a central, like a deeper player? Sport Gang, Real Madrid with a 4-4-2 diamond is insane. You think because of our players we can't play this system, or the manager? I also think actually if you tactically break down Real Madrid, they're not great. Their results are very good, but some of that is a bit last minute. But also I think their profiles are very different. They've got a Jude Bellingham in the side who's one of the best players in the world. They've got Aurelien Tchouameni, one of the best holding midfielders. Players like Toni Kroos, the best passers. They've got, let's just break down the midfield diamond of Madrid. They change quite a bit game to game, to be fair. But let's say, for example, we've got Tchouameni, Valverde, Camavinga and Bellingham. If you look in there, that four, it's very different to United's four. Tchouameni compared to Amrabat, Tchouameni is much bigger. Valverde compared to Bruno Fernandes, physically it's night and day. Camavinga compared to Mason Mount, stylistically they're quite similar to be fair, but Camavinga's more press resistant, keeps the ball better. And then Bellingham compared to Eriksen. So probably the players more than anything would be the problem in the diamond at the top level, producing it on the level of a Real Madrid, for example. A Real Madrid win in spite of their tactics. Yeah, Zach, your words, not mine, but I agree. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of their tactical setup a lot of the time for the past few seasons. Also, yeah, of course, you've got to consider it's a completely different league, a different intensity. And I think Joel's hit the nail on the head there. All of them athletically are elite, apart from probably Toni Kroos when he plays. He's a bit slower. But physically, that's so good, that Real Madrid side. Bellingham, huge. Valverde, huge. Tchouaméni, huge. But also, they can run for days. Camavinga, he can run a lot, but he's got that cute, subtle style to his game. It's very different to what United have here. Because they've built a better squad. Anyway, let's get back to the Copenhagen game. Because we need to finish our side. Are we going for a diamond in this game then? Because Goldbridge, for example, has suggested it might be the case. Or he suggested Anthony out. What formation would you like to go for? Football has changed so much over the years. Sports science is everything. Yeah, sports science is the most important thing in sport. I have studied it at college and things. It's the most important thing in sport. The depth of it is insane. Okay, AJ, I think moving forward, if, fingers crossed, Ten Hag is staying, and he wants to implement his style, we might see Bruno being replaced. I think that's a conversation which is becoming more and more, you know, we're seeing that conversation more. We're seeing that opinion more. Yeah, it's something we need to discuss. I don't think we need to discuss it right now, obviously, because I think for now he will be in the first team tonight. Whilst I would be tempted to drop him, he will play. But absolutely, it's something we've got to have that discussion at some point. It's an uncomfortable one, but we do need to talk about it towards the end of the season. So VK saying he still thinks of 3-5-2. I know you've been a fan of that formation or that system for quite a while. The only concern with that would be the 3 centre-backs you choose. Pardon me. Muhammad Ali saying a wide diamond rather than a narrow one. Because obviously what we could see as well, if people are saying that there's a chance that Goldbridge reckons Mount comes in for Anthony, we could see this. Where you go Amrabat and Eriksen double pivot, Bruno Fernandes in the 10, Mason Mount out wide. Now this team I don't mind at all, actually. There's a bit of a lack of physicality in the centre of the park, which would be concerning. But in possession, there's more control there. There's much more retention there. And I like this idea of Fernandes central, Mount wide, much more than the other way around. Mount's brilliant centrally. I love him in central areas. I think United should do more to get more out of him. I think Ten Hag's failing him a little bit. But if you've got to play one of Fernandes and Mason Mount out wide, I think you go for Mount out wide. Do you guys agree with that? Or do you guys think Bruno sent... What way around do you think it is? Mount coming in just means Bruno will play on the wing. What way around would you guys do it? Do we need a poll? No, probably not enough people for a poll. What way around? So DJ Nature saying, yeah, Bruno in the 10. Mount coming in just means Bruno will play on the wing. What about 4-4-2 with Højlund and Rashford up front? The problem at that point would be who you play out wide. Do you play a Fernandes and a Mount out wide? If so, at that point, it borderline becomes 4-2-2, because obviously they both want to come inside a little bit, and then a 4-2-2 quickly becomes a diamond. So, again, it's about how all formations are so close to each other. A top team without a winger, goddamn the Glazers. Yeah, reasonable. DJ Nature saying might as well turn off the TV if Bruno plays right wing again. Yeah. Again, I think it is frustrating a lot of the time when he does play there. The only thing I would say is if you go, let's say, Fernandes out wide, Mason Mount in the middle, and this is just to play devil's advocate, you know, play the other side of the coin. If you have Amrabat, Eriksen, Mason Mount, there is a lot of retention in there. There is much more ball retention in these areas. You would hope, unless Ten Hag tells them to pump it forward all the time. I would argue here you have got more ball players in this area. You have got more retention. Could you then see maybe Fernandes comes inside at times, Dalot gets round, and that's where your width is provided. Borderline giving United a box in midfield. In rotation, of course, this wouldn't always be the shape. It would be rotated in moments, situational. But this kind of has a flow to it, which works. Joel saying a big no to Bruno on the wing. Play him in his best position or not at all. Yeah, I think I agree. I'm just trying to offer the other side of things. Because Ten Hag, when he does it, he keeps going Fernandes right, Mount middle. And there's got to be a reason he's doing that. But what is the reason? Again, that's something which we can perhaps figure out moving forward. Perhaps, again, we can have a whole stream on Bruno Fernandes. Why not Mount on the wing? Yeah, I think Mount on the wing is more likely. Codename saying, to be honest, if we play a 4-4-2 diamond, our centre mid requires massive work rate. Real Madrid have Valverde and Camavinga, both have high engines. Yeah, and again, Bellingham and Tchouaméni do as well. So I completely agree. So Dalot was a right winger. No, it doesn't mean he's the right winger in that other system. It just means that as play develops, he would be the one pushing forward. So it's just an overlapping right back. It's the same as a winger coming inside the fullback bomb, and it's the same dynamic. To what extent do you reckon physical size matters, considering Liverpool's midfield is fairly lightweight, but they seem to be doing all right defensively? They're certainly doing better than United. Again, it's a brilliant question. You're on form today. I'll be honest, balance-wise, I don't like the midfield which Liverpool have constructed. And going into the season, I had real concerns over it, and I still do. I think technically, though, because they're really good technically in midfield, they keep the ball more, so they don't have to defend as much. It's like almost a basic idea in football that if you've got the ball, you can't concede. If you've got the ball, you don't have to defend. I feel like McAllister and Szoboszlai bring you that a little bit at times, but I still think physicality, athleticism is huge. I think McAllister, for example, gets dribbled past several times per game. I haven't got the stats on me. FP, I don't know if you're still here. But you can go through and look through Liverpool's games this season. McAllister as the 6 is dribbled past a lot, and they've conceded 2 or 3 goals because he's not a holding midfielder. And you can see that he just gets caught out. So I think you can have small technical players, and I think they can take you really far because they take the ball away from the opposition and give you a huge advantage. But I think to be at the top level at the moment in the current day, I think you need that physicality because you go play an Arsenal and they've got Declan Rice in midfield. It's so difficult to deal with. You go against City and they've got a Rodri in there. De Bruyne, when he returns from injury, physically he's a big, strong player. They're strikers. You've got Haaland in the league. You've got Rasmus Højlund. You've got Darwin Núñez. They're big players. I think you need some big players in there. Also, they've got stronger centre-backs as well. Their attack is up there with the best in the league and will get them out of trouble in most games. Yeah, Liverpool's start has been good. I haven't actually been that impressed by them still, though. Controversial opinion, maybe. I don't think they've been that great. Sorry, Liverpool fans, if you're watching it. Going back to United, VK saying, to be fair, the only wide players that hold the width are Antony and Pellistri. Yeah, I believe Pellistri's not with the squad today as well, right? I guess Reguilon on the left-hand side, kind of overlapping from fullback, he does it as well. But I don't like the idea of a fullback being your main width provider because I just don't think naturally they are as well drilled in 1-versus-1 situations. Coding Forest says Copenhagen have the same problem Manchester United has. Please do expand, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Yeah, please give me kind of expand on that point. I'm really interested to hear what you have to say there. Just while I have a drink, get typing, mate. Out of interest, you guys are talking about Liverpool here. How much of other teams do you watch? Do you only really watch United, or do you watch a lot of... Do you just watch the big games? Do you watch a lot of football? Because I must watch close to 10 games a weekend at the moment. Plus then, I go back and watch a load of different games on like 3 times speed to get through them as well. So how much do you guys watch, or are you just United only? Muhammad Ali asking, by the way, AJ, what is your opinion on Villa? They are so great this season with great players like Diaby, Watkins, Cash, Douglas Luiz, and Ramsey. Yeah, Villa look really good at the moment. I need to watch more of them. I need to kind of tactically watch them a bit more. I've watched a few of their games. I watched them against Brighton the other week. I really enjoyed that game. But yeah, I need to watch more of them to give you guys a proper opinion, I guess. DJ Nature saying he watches whoever's in his FPL squad. Yeah, we will go over FPL on Friday because, of course, we have the sponsor for that this year. So we will go over FPL on Friday. I've made one transfer so far, which wasn't forced through injury. That sums up my season. So it's not. I'd imagine you've got more than me. Our midfield is not great physically, like Villa and Newcastle, and not great technically, like Arsenal and City. What are they even good at? I mean, when you put it like that, it's not a bad question. It's not a bad question at all. I think we have a lot of moments players in the squad in general. Bruno Fernandes being one of those. Casemiro being one of those. So yeah, I think it's actually a fair problem. Man United problem still remains a goal issue. Man United wasn't bad at chance creating, yet finishing was atrocious. Yeah, I think the problem is probably the best finisher in the squad is Rasmus Højlund, I would say, or certainly on form so far this season. But he's not getting many chances. Create him more chances, we'll score more goals. Hopefully that starts tonight. I could see this side, to be fair, what we've actually got on screen here. I could see this doing a little bit better. I mean, again, we're going to be realistic and do what we think Ten Hag would do. I could see this being our starting 11 tonight. I see control in there. I see tempo control with the likes of Amrabat and Eriksen. I see perhaps Bruno Fernandes getting a little bit isolated at times. But importantly, what I do see is more attacking support for Marcus Rashford. So I think our left-hand side could be much more dangerous. I would be a little bit concerned about the right-hand side because Bruno Fernandes doesn't like coming in from this position so much. If we go back to his best ever days at Old Trafford, it was from the left side with Rashford, where United were really left-side heavy back then. So I'd be concerned a little bit about the right-hand side. But I think there is the potential for this system to control the game. Would Ten Hag go for Lindelof over Maguire, do you think? Possibly. But I think this midfield of Amrabat, Eriksen, Mason Mount, I think you get more control in there. Again, will Eriksen start? It's really difficult to guess at the moment. I think that's maybe my other problem with United. When you look at City, when you look at Arsenal, when you look at Liverpool, you look at Spurs, Chelsea not so much, but the big teams in the world, when you look at those, you can always tell pretty much what starting 11 these teams are going to go for, barring 2 or 3 players. But more importantly, you know what they're going to do with their system. You know how they're going to play. You know that they're going to press really high. You know that they're going to retain the ball well. You know that they're going to hold a lot of width in the side. They're going to counter press well. I feel like we don't get that with United. Certainly not consistently. You can't predict that it's going to happen. So Joel saying elite lineups going around is that Scott McTominay starts. So if that is to be the case, so we're just going to base it on this. So the leak is that what? Mount starts and McTominay start. Is that the leak here? If so, I would guess this. If that news is, if those leaks are true, I would guess this. Yeah, by City next weekend, I think it'll be different because we'll see Casemiro back, things like that. Yeah, I think we'll see different then. AJ, please look at this stat. United scored 4 or more only twice in the last 74 games. Wow. I wish I hadn't seen that stat, but thank you for it. That's not great at all. AJ, if playing as a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, do you prefer winger both inverted or one traditional? Because Man City often deploy one invert, one traditional for width and unpredictable. I like to see 2 wide wingers, but obviously always rotations. So the majority of the time they're out wide, but occasionally the fullback's going to go around and a winger comes inside. So, you know, I would ignore the personnel here. I like to see my wingers holding the width, with the fullbacks a bit more tucked and the midfielders pushing high. That's what I like to see. But occasionally your winger comes in, your fullback gets round. So that's how I like to see it. Because for me, the best thing about holding the width is that it's the one area of the pitch where you can really create potential for a 1-versus-1 situation. I feel like when you get a fullback in this area, naturally they're not as good 1-versus-1 players on the ball as what wingers are. So that's my main thought process behind it. How about you? What's your preference with that? I'm just seeing if I can see any team news coming through. Mainly on Twitter, I'm just seeing people crying because they support United, which, yeah, I think we've all been there. With Ollie, we scored 4 goals or more every 9 games. not great, is it? That under Solskjaer is, by the way. That's very good. Now, not so much. Have you guys been watching Spurs, just out of interest? Have you guys been watching Spurs? Have you kind of been watching their playstyle and things? If so, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. Hannibal is the closest to Fred's running and energy. Could this be a start for him with Amrabat today as a double pivot? I just don't think he'll be trusted for his defensive side in a double pivot just yet. You guys have watched Spurs, and you're saying sadly so. I mean, I guess you mean comparison-wise. I think the thing with Spurs and Postecoglou is he's getting a lot of credit, and everyone's saying, how come he can do it? But we can't. Do you guys reflect that? Do you guys wish we had Postecoglou, almost? Because I think the important thing we've got to remember is since Ten Hag came in, we've played every 3 days. Near enough, right? Like, we've been playing Saturday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Thursday last season. 1 game a week for Spurs and no injuries. I think it's so different. Because as a footballer, right, let's say I play a big game on a Saturday. So I played Sheffield United Saturday night. Sunday I'm going to have as a recovery day. Monday, train. Tuesday, match prep day, right? So I've had 1 training day between games. Whereas if you go to Spurs, they play I know this week they've got Monday and Friday, but in general they've got Saturday to Saturday. So they play Saturday, they've got Sunday rest, then they've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday training. It has to be different. It has to be easier to put a philosophy and a new style in place when you're playing once a week. They're out of the Carabao Cup, they've got no European football. They're not getting injuries because they're not playing so much. And like I said, it's got to be easier to implement a new style when you're not playing as much, but you're training a lot more. It's why, and I saw someone making this point on Twitter the other day, it's why United's pre-season was confusing, because there was a lot of games in there where it feels like we might have benefited more from more training. There's a lot of variables to consider. Yeah, I completely agree. I'm not saying we should have got Postecoglou or we should get Postecoglou or anything like that, or he's better. I was just interested to hear your thoughts, because I know that some people are saying, why can he do it but we can't? I just think it's a important thing to consider. Chelsea have a game per week too. Yeah, and obviously they're not doing as well. Well, I think they're starting to improve. But again, it has to help. It has to help keeping players fit, creating a new style, working on tactical things, preparing game to game. Because also, again, if you're Ten Hag, you just played Sheffield, you've now got 3 days to prepare for Copenhagen, and then 4 days to prepare for City. Whereas again, if you're Spurs and Chelsea, you look 7 days ahead. You've got 7 days to prepare for every game. So again, it has to be a help. I'm not individually making a comparison. I'm saying I've seen other people do it. So I'm just interested to get your thoughts. Something about the way we trained and the way other teams trained seemed off, especially in pre-season. We lack intensity. First of all, good to see you, Ian, mate. I hope you're well. Yeah, I hope you're having a good day. On that point, I agree. I think it's the fact that other teams seem to have more training. Because we played, how many pre-season games did we play? It was 7 or 8 in the end, right? Whereas most teams like City played 3, maybe 4. It seems like other teams trained more, whereas we played more, which is weird. I don't know why we would do that. Would a centre-back in January push Varane out of the team? Okay, so I think Raphael Varane eventually will be moved out of this team. I think it's a natural process which will happen. But I don't think it will be a quick new signing, Varane out. I think it will be a slow process. Varane gets injured quite a lot anyway, so that's almost makes it easier to transition someone in. But I don't think we would see it as 1 in, 1 out. I think it would be a kind of a slow phasing. Why have so many managers ultimately failed to deliver? What's the real reason why we don't have any football success? The owners. Yeah, the owners are a big part, not obviously all of it. Postecoglou is somewhat of an anomaly. Yeah, I believe he's got the best ever record after 9 games in the Prem, right? Arteta, Potter, Klopp, and even Pep struggled in their first season. Yeah, I agree. Bruno excels in chaotic phases. Occasionally he can pull off a long pass over the back line, but he is not a progressive, patient build-up player. Not sure he is the profile Ten Hag wants long-term. again, I think it's something we need to discuss. I think it's the elephant in the room. I think we need to assess it at some point. Didn't Ollie have the same record after 9? I'm not too sure. Perhaps its first 9 is like full time. Not sure. But I definitely saw that stat somewhere. I watched Todibo this season with Nice, and he is so great. He has everything: tall, ball playing, and physical. Yeah, brilliant player. Hopefully, if Ratcliffe does come in, could we go get Todibo? There's got to be some sort of relationship which can be struck there. I'd be interested in it. Conte did a madness going 3-4-3 during a season and won the title. It's recognising who you have in your squad. Again, a really good point. And I think it's something which Ten Hag done quite well last season, right? We played a couple of games where the football... We tried to play more football at the start of last season. This is Brighton, Brentford. We were quite open, expansive, got hurt for it. Ten Hag then went to more pragmatic football. I think last season Ten Hag did realise what he had and was pragmatic about it. We didn't press that high. Our defensive line was quite deep. As a result, we got good results. It feels like this year I don't know, you sign Onana, who obviously is an attempt to change that. You're trying to play more football if you've got Onana in your side. Same with Amrabat. We really feel in between at the moment. We feel like we're in between pragmatic and expansive. And it's not great. Because it's not leading to balance. It's leading to, if you've got pragmatic attacking, you think if you balance it out, if we're somewhere in between, you think you get balance. But we seem to get this constant changing. So VK, I completely agree. It's about knowing who you have in your squad. I think Ten Hag done that really well last year. I'm not sure it's working this year. I think that is where he's struggling. I think he's almost struggling with what is the best play style for this squad. Now, some of that is his fault because he's recruited a lot of them, but also again injuries. It's really difficult. How do you think Lisandro Martinez would fare playing the Stones role? I really like the idea of it. I think you have to get the right fullbacks around him. Covering round and things. But yeah, I think there's potential in that idea. Luke Shaw, for example, has played left centre-back before, so maybe that would work with him kind of tucking around. Dalot tucking around on the other side. Definitely could work. If Nice get Champions League football, we can't get him. But by the looks, we don't get European football. Yeah, another completely valid point. I do wonder, though, if maybe he wants to force a move. But would he? Don't know. Man, I'm so sad. Like, why does this thing only happen to us? Not only once or twice, but so many times in the last 11 years. Every time we get a new coach in the first season or two is great. And then it goes downhill. Yeah, it's quite repetitive. 3 at the back would help include more midfielders and also help with that midfield hole. Not a Maguire fan, but he also plays really well in this system. Yeah, I think Maguire's been in good form recently. And a back 3, you're right, does suit him. It's about getting the right personnel around it. Again, there's definitely a solution there to be found. It's about, can we find it? Perhaps we can do a stream next week where we try and find the best system. We'll do a whole stream based on what formation is the best for this side. We'll look at a 3-1-4-2, a 3-4-3, a 5-4-1, a 3-1-6, a 3-4-3, a 3-4-3 diamond, a 3-box-3, a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2, a 4-4-2 diamond. We'll go through a load of different shapes and kind of figure out what's best. That could be a good idea. NS Sport TV, hey mate, welcome to the stream, hope you're well. Pep would definitely buy Lisandro Martinez, his kind of player. Technically, I agree. I do just think Pep Guardiola is starting to buy bigger physical defensive players, though. But certainly on the ball, I do agree. Our team, just in the middle of nowhere, in possession, half moments FC, half possession FC, out of possession when pressing, also half-hearted. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Codename. I think you've got that spot on. I think, I said it the other day, the way I labelled it was an identity crisis for United. I think that's really where they are. I think United are in such a middle place at the moment, and it's not a good place to be. You've got to commit to a style and just go for it. Postecoglou's doing it with Spurs. Now, again, they've got a lot going their way to help, but you can see he's picked a style and he said, this is the style we're going to play. Sometimes you'll get burnt for playing that style and it will hurt you. When was the last time we had a 90-minute performance or even a 60-minute performance? I don't think we've had... Nottingham Forest, maybe? A 60-minute one? Obviously, like, terrible first 15 minutes, but we were good after that. Or decent after that. In terms of a good 90-minute performance, Hand on heart, truthfully, I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you the last time we were good for 90 minutes. That's concerning. Would you, just a yes or no in chat, would you guys like a stream where we just look purely at, oh yeah, Palace in the Cup. Would you guys like a stream where we look purely at a format, we try and figure out the system? We could talk about, again, different shapes, different personnel. We can talk about the current squad, the fully fit squad. Would you guys like that stream next week? I could maybe do next Wednesday. Because Total Football's now asked, do you think a 3 at the back would suit this United team? Like Tuchel did at Chelsea. Bruno, Mount, Højlund front 3. It's a big call to drop Marcus Rashford is the problem. DJ Nate is saying sure. I think we'll do a stream next week then. I've got a lot of streams planned basically. So today we've got this. We've got tomorrow we're looking at, just to go back to it in case any of you didn't see. Tomorrow we're looking at right wing solutions for United moving forward. So we're going to look at Kubo, Williams, Bakayoko and Neto. Plus maybe some more. We'll see. Friday we're streaming the preview for Manchester City game. Wish us luck in that one. I might do a live reaction after the game to that game. Then next week we'll preview Newcastle in the Cup. And we'll do a stream on different systems and tactics which United could use. And then a stream on previewing whoever United have after that in the Prem. And a takeover stream as well. Would you guys prefer a takeover stream or a takeover video? AJ, what do you think of Graham Potter news? I haven't seen the Graham Potter news. I like Graham Potter as a manager, though. I think the problem he had at Chelsea was, well, with Brighton, because they're a smaller club, you can kind of adapt and change your tactics to combat the opposition. Whereas when you're a bigger club, like Chelsea, you're expected to have a set style, a set philosophy. This is how we play. And I think he struggled with that a little bit. I think he tinkered too much last year with Chelsea. A midfield 5 from Anthony, Amrabat, Casemiro, Bruno, McTominay, Eriksen, Hannibal, Dallo, Reguilon could allow for more options for the 2 up top as well. Very true. I fear players wouldn't respect Potter. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say. Obviously, I know nothing about what Potter's like in a change room as such, but I like him as a manager. I really enjoyed what he done at Brighton. I thought he was good. I think when he left Brighton, I think everyone was talking about him as one of the best upcoming managers. He then has a bad job at Chelsea, and everyone talks about him as, terrible. I think he's a good manager still. Yeah, but why Potter? Why not Alonso or Nagelsmann or Flick? That's so weird. To be honest, guys, I don't know what news you're talking about. I haven't seen the news about Graham Potter. A stream on formation would be great. Okay, we've got a lot of streams we need to get through them. I might be able to give you guys next week streams on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And maybe we'll do one stream where in the same stream we'll talk about takeover and formation in the same stream. Do half and half. Maybe an extended stream, do half and half like that. That could be the play here. Very good manager, just fear he has the same issues at Chelsea. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think Ten Hag's staying for now, in the short term. Can everyone leave a like on the stream, by the way? I realised we haven't asked for that yet today. But yeah, if you guys want to get involved, basically, we've got loads of streams coming. We've got loads of different videos coming up, loads of different content. Also, when I hit 20,000 subscribers, which we're slowly getting to, the growth's been quite slow recently. When we get to 20,000, you guys can become channel members if you wish. And what you'll get, basically, is you'll get one of those, you see those 4 badges there? You'll get one of those badges next to your name in stream. So if you've been a member of the channel for 1 month, you get the bronze goat emoji or goat badge. Then you get the silver, the gold, and then the green of the channel. And also those emojis down the bottom there. So you've got the green flame, the cap, because we love talking about the cap on stream. Also the heart and the 100. There's also different things I'm working with as well. So if you have any interest in becoming a channel member, this isn't coming just yet, but it's something to look forward to. So just kind of keep your eyes out for that. I'll let you know more in the future. Because also, if you become a member, I want to make it so you guys get involved in videos. So you guys can send questions in and I answer them either via comment or a voice clip or a video. You guys send stuff in and I answer it because we've got a new series coming. So you might want to consider being a member. Muhammad Ali saying, by the way, congrats on the green screen. Looks amazing. Thank you very much. It's taken a bit of time to get it sorted. We've got a new camera as well, so it works properly. There's a bit of blur at times still, and if I lean forward too much, nope, it's not going to do it. Sometimes it goes fuzzy in the background. I need to like iron it to make it better. But yeah, I think it looks quite good. I think it's worked quite well as well. And it also means when we do tactical stuff like this, it means you guys can see it a bit better. So yeah, I think it's worked quite nicely. Anyway, for today's stream though, I think we are just about done there. I think we've covered everything we want to do. Because I'm going to be streaming a lot, we might do shorter streams, but do them more regularly. So like, rather than 2 1.5 hour streams, we might do 3 1 hour streams, for example. What time is the United game at the weekend against City? Could someone quickly just tell me that? Someone can just tell me what time that game is against City. I'll look it up if not. Because there's a decent chance I might stream my reaction to that game. Kind of give like immediate analysis. Do what we've done for the Brentford game, basically. Let me Google it. 3:30 England time. Yes, you are correct. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lightning. Yeah, I will probably stream my reaction to that game then. Like at full time, give it half hour, I'll be live again. So that's 4 streams you guys could be getting this week. So that deserves a like and a subscribe, you know. Codename saying, I hope you hit Dallo K subs before Christmas. Yeah, I think we should hit it by the end of November. We should hit it before then, but the growth's just been really slow lately because, again, because United's so negative at the moment and everyone hates United and everyone's quite sad about the club, the subs aren't going up, but we'll get there. We'll get there. If people like you keep supporting the channel, which has been absolutely amazing, then yeah, we'll get there. AJ, what would be the necessary January signings for us maybe rank them by necessity for the team? Yeah. I like the idea of that. It's definitely something that I can add to the list and we'll do a stream on it at some point or a video on it at some point. In terms of January signings, if you look at Williams here, he's out of contract in the summer. Very good player. Could you go in for him in January, for example? Something we could look at for sure. Versatile forward who can play a few different positions, replacing Jadon Sancho. Could be. Let's go. We're eating good from we're providing the content here. United aren't providing the content so much, but we are. Hopefully, though, right? I've seen it. I've seen the vision. Manchester United play tonight. Destroy Copenhagen. 18-0. Tomorrow morning, video. How United produced the best performance of all time. Let's manifest it. Is Kobbie Mainoo in the squad? Kobbie Mainoo is not in the squad because he's playing for the under-19s literally right now. Actually, it's probably half-time now, but he's playing right now. So hopefully back in the squad soon. Abel Ferreira of Palmeiras would be an interesting review for you. I'll write it down right now. Yeah, Joel, you tell them. More people need to like. It's instantly gone up to 31 the second you say that. Today is a quiet stream. Normally we're over 100 people, but doesn't matter. I appreciate every single one of you which has been in here today. Before we just wrap up, though, give me a score prediction and your goal scorers for tonight. Give me your goal scorers and your score prediction. I'm going to go for my heart rather than my head. 3-0 United with goals from Rashford, Rasmus Højlund, and Rafael Varane from a corner. Yeah, that's right. United scoring from a corner. You didn't expect that prediction. Callum saying 3-0, Højlund brace and a Garnacho goal. Crappy 1-0 win, Bruno score. Your current lineup looks like we're playing with 10 players. What's our current lineup? Oh, you're saying because this isn't my 11, by the way. This is the leaked what people have been talking about. Yeah, don't worry. This is not what I would do. Don't worry. 3-1, Højlund brace and Mount. Okay, so I think we've got 2 people now saying a Højlund brace. 0-0, no one will score. Oh, is Corey here today? Because he's normally really good with his predictions. He's not in chat, is he? They're definitely going to score because they've not scored in 7 games against Prem teams, but 3-1 United. I'm seeing a 3-goal theme here, though. United hitting 3 goals tonight and playing nice football. Exciting football. Good attacking football. Getting Old Trafford behind them a little bit is needed. It's needed. Sophie and Amrabat, take control of this game. Get on the ball, slow the tempo down, control it, speed it up at the right times. Those forward passes through the lines. Marcus Rashford, get that dribbling right. Ten Hag, get the right players around him. And please, 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 create chances for Rasmus Højlund. Alex saying 3-2 to United with McTominay hat-trick. I mean, it's not my truthful prediction, but I like it. Rashford masterclass is overdue. Maybe tonight. Not quite as optimistic as you. I'm going 3-1. Rashford, Højlund, and a headed goal from Maguire. I was tempted to say Maguire, but I went Varane instead. 4-1. Okay, so we all think we're winning, right? Apart from a 0-0 from Muhammad Ali. I think that's a good place to leave the stream. On a positive note, we all think United can win. So I want to say thank you very much to everyone which has been in stream today. Again, it's been a bit of a quieter one because, you know, we're competing with other people streaming, and also people don't want to watch United content at the moment because the club is in absolute state. So I appreciate all you guys which have tuned in today. Those of you which have just kind of sat there quietly minding your own business. Those of you which have commented. Those of you which have been, you know, giving your opinions and asking different questions. I appreciate all of you. Every single one of you. Absolute legends. Just one last prediction from VK saying a narrow 2-1 win with a brace from Rasmus Højlund. Truthfully, this is a must-win game, and anything which is a positive result is needed for United. But it would be nice to see a comfortable, good performance. I will be analysing this match on the channel first thing tomorrow morning, so make sure you subscribe, get notifications on so you don't miss that video. Whether it's good, bad, or most likely ugly, I will be reviewing it tomorrow morning. So get subscribed. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Now, this is that awkward couple of seconds where I try and find a way to end the stream. I'll catch you in the next one.